Let me ask you a couple of questions here before we get to Barack Obama. Bill Whittle, who does work for PJ Media and for National Review, he did a video. It's now got almost 500,000 hits, and it's growing in leaps and bounds. And I got to tell you, it's the first time I've heard. I remember the prosecutor saying, when holding up the plastic bag with the jar of liquid in it, saying iced tea or watermelon drink, whatever it is. And it struck me. I said to myself at the time, what's he talking about, watermelon drink? Is it true, or is it not true, however, if I want to phrase it as an attorney, that this was not iced tea at all, but was Arizona watermelon fruit juice cocktail? And is it also not true, and please, if I'm wrong, tell me, that Skittles and this drink, Arizona watermelon fruit juice, mixed with cough medicine, is the concoction or the ingredients for something called lean, which is a drink that gets you high, which Trayvon Martin had tweeted about. Is all that true?
Yes, that's all mostly true. If you look on, if you just do a Google search for purple lean or lean drink or lean drink, it is sort of an urban kind of drug. It's known in some circles as poor man's ecstasy or something like that. And yes, the main ingredients are watermelon, Arizona watermelon juice, a hard candy, whether that's Jolly Ranchers or Skittles or some other hard candy for the sweetness, and then some type of either codeine tablets if you can get them, or Quercetin D, Robitussin DM, anything with a D in it, because that stands for decongestant, and that has the active ingredient.
Is it also not true then, and I feel like I'm cross-examining you, so bear with me, is it also not true that the autopsy report showed some kind of liver, I won't say psoriasis of the liver, maybe that is the appropriate term, but liver damage consistent with use of this kind of thing, and that the result of using this kind of concoction or cocktail or lean drink is paranoia and what's the other one? And aggressiveness.
Well, as the first one, I have heard other people opine that that type of liver abnormality could come from this, but we never looked into it.
But he had a liver. But he had a liver abnormality. You're saying he did.
It was identified.
Okay,
yes.
and as for the paranoia and the aggressiveness.
If you look at lean on Google, you're going to find out that those are some of the characteristics of people who use it, because it's an intoxicant, and it's a fairly significant one when used in that.
Why was this not brought out in court? Any particular reason? Was it not relevant? Would the judge not allow it in? Did you want to bring it in?
We had a lot of information that we had gotten off of the phone. The court reviewed a certain amount of that and had decided not to allow us to get into some of the information that I think was potentially more relevant, that talking about his fighting and whatnot. So, we weren't winning that battle, even though it was more relevant, so we sort of stopped at that point.
Okay, I got now one more. This myth that he was told to stay in the car, still repeated. I heard Wolf Blitzer say it a few days ago. He was told not to get out of the car. Is that not just a bald-faced lie that could be remedied by simply listening to that tape?
Yeah, and I don't know why. It's almost, because, like you say, it's almost a myth at this point, because it has no factual basis, but everyone continues to believe it. It's very clear if you listen to the tape, and this is not me litigating. I've already won the case, but the reality is you've listened to the tape. On two separate occasions, the dispatcher says, "What is he doing now?" Right,
which prompted him to follow him, as the witness alluded to when the operator alluded to when you questioned him, right?
Yeah, and then he says, "Is he running? Which way is he going?" You then hear the door open, so George is now out of it. 9 to 10 seconds later, listen to the tape yourself, don't believe me, 9 to 10 seconds later, dispatch.
Are you following him? Yes, we don't need you to do that. Okay. Yep.
Okay, and then he stops, and there's no other evidence for any following. Now, supposedly, the prosecutor, after the case, this never came up in the trial, but now the prosecutor is saying that he went back to his car and then went back to search him down and had his gun in his hand the whole time. Well, you know, it might be great for a fantasy fairy tale, but we're supposed to be locked in as lawyers to facts we can prove.
Yeah, and please, if you go on with Piers Morgan, especially him, I mean, he's so duplicitous. He'll be respectful to your face, and even might say he agrees with the verdict, and then then rabble rouse to the extreme with the next guest. So I mean, I know you know that, but tell him please start addressing this myth, because I've ended relationships with liberal guests that I used to have as a regular guests on this show because they wouldn't take back this lie about being told not to get out of the car. And I said, why are you saying that? It's a lie. No, it's not. And yes, it is. So please, I don't want to tell you what to do, but please try to dispel, because it has become an urban legend. One final thing, and thank you for your time, Mark. The president, what was your reaction to the president going out there and saying what he said?
Well, if you look at the sound bites, I didn't like that he said, 35 years ago, I could have been Trayvon, because it's sort of ignoring a lot of the information that you and I have just talked about that we know to be out there. But if you do listen to the whole 20 minutes of it, if what he's saying is, let's talk, then I'm okay with that. I've said that for a year. We do need to talk about a couple of things, no question about it. But my frustration is those comments can be seen to more divide us rather than truly, requesting and having a conversation. Because if we try and deal with somebody having a conversation where you have to admit that Geroge Zimmerman acted so inappropriately and that Trayvon Martin is this high up on a pedestal, those people who don't believe it, those who look at the facts, will never want to take part in that conversation.
I couldn't agree.
You have to have the conversation.
I couldn't agree with you more. And one final thing, civil suit, I maintain it's not going to happen, because everything we've talked about with the Ice-T, all his cell phone records, everything, the arrests or the kicking out of school, that would all come out, and Geroge Zimmerman really doesn't have enough money to make it worthwhile them going after him with all that coming out. Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree. I don't see that happening. And like you say, more information will come out in the civil case. And plus, he has immunity under the statute,
right,
which we have not asserted yet, but we can assert. And if that's true, we get attorney's fees and costs in having to counter that lawsuit, so they may be on the hook for that.